What a great episode. For me, the explanation and them breaking down in detail what Nen is comprised of was just amazing. Hunter x Hunter, episode 28, Nen and Nen. Ten, Zetsu, Ren, and Hatsu. Man, what? Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome, action-packed, and very philosophically deep tale of Hunter x Hunter. Now, our last episode saw us with the Gon and Killua, of course, arriving at Heaven's Arena, meeting up with Zushi, meeting this new character, Zushi, and, of course, his master, Wing. The episode culminated in Killua confronting them and wanting to know more about and learn and train to learn how to use this Nen, right? Which was obviously the four tenets that I was talking about as far as the Ten, the Ren, the Hatsu, and it's very, very cool stuff the way it's explained, and I like the way that they break these things down for you. So that's how the episode left off, though, with Killua, saying, "Listen, I want to learn this. I'll agree to, the full deal. Just, And then Wing going and saying, sure, I'll take you under my wing. Anyway, no pun intended there. So that's how things left off, and that's, of course, where things pick up. Wing winds up taking Gon and Killua with Zushi in tow back to his place and tries to sit down and explain to them the four tenets as far as the Zetsu and the Ren and the Ten, and then he says for the Hatsu, which is also known as Force, he doesn't explain that. That's kind of the other meaning for it. And it's really neat how he demonstrates how to do it. The Ten, if I remember correctly, is the focus. It's basically focusing all your concentration into one point. You can also use it to harden your body, and Killua winds up the lipstick comes off the pig eventually, because what happens is Wing kind of holds back a little bit on the explanation, but nonetheless, though, it also basically means to harden your body to be able to take a blow or a hit or what have you, right? And then you can actually go and kind of exert your will, your aura, so to speak, and that's exactly how it's explained as your aura. And he goes and looks at Killua and he says, he's trying to do a demonstration, he says, "I'll kill you," right? And Killua's like, okay, whatever, and he's like, that's because I have no hostile intent. So he goes and he focuses, and then goes and pushes out his aura with this hostile intent, and the next thing you know, Killua's ass, who's the biggest beast that we've seen thus far, right, is sitting like Spider-Man on the corner of the wall, like, what the fuck just happened, And what it is it's almost like a psych out, like an intimidation factor. It's a force and an aura that's so strong that it physically can push you back, Nonetheless, though, after he gives the explanation about everything and says, hey, you should train with Zushi and this and that and blah, blah, Killua's like, screw this, you know what, we're leaving. And him and Killua take off, and Killua's like, what's the deal? And and Gon's like, what's the deal, And Killua says, he was lying. He was explaining, and it kind of goes back to his match with Zushi, and he explains about how he hit him, his last hit, he hit him as hard as he could. And smashed him into this wall. There was a pile of dust and debris, there's smoke and everything. When the smoke clears, dude stood back up. Now, he still wound up losing because of points, a technical knockout, but Killua has never seen that before. He hit him as hard as he could, and this kid obviously was able to use that focus, that 10, and that's part of the explanation that Wing seemed to be holding back on. But it's very cool how all this is explained. So, nonetheless, though, Gon and Killua wind up going back to Heaven's Arena and handily defeat their next opponents on the 190s, and then move up to floor 200. We then go back, though, to seeing Wing and Zushi is practicing his 10, and Wing's like, I can feel it, it's unstable, and it almost like reminds me of kind of like the Force from Star Wars, okay? It's an exertion of will, but it's kind of being able to, instead of being able to use nature and the surroundings and everything like that around you, it's really being able to exert your own force and aura outward, but very similar in nature and explanation. And really what it is that Sushi's pissed off that Wing did not, he's upset that Wing didn't come clean with them and tell him about that, the other meaning for Nen, which is the force, I guess, right? And this actual being able to exert the force of will and the aura. So he winds up taking a piece of paper, and this is slick, especially because the animation's done so well. And Wing grabs this piece of paper that's, floppy. It's a piece of loose leaf notebook paper, right? And he goes, focuses and concentrates, and it goes, and becomes like super hard and whatnot. And he whips it at these two pop cans or juice cans or whatever, and the thing goes, and slices through, is clear through this aluminum can and sticks into the wall. And then once he lets go of it with his force or whatever, the thing just becomes a limp piece of paper again. But he's like in the wrong hands. Even a piece of paper could be deadly. So because they're not my students, yeah, I can't just teach them, you know. So the whole idea was because Killua had offered, because he had offered to show them, but then Killua just kind of wanted to walk out. So anyway, Zushi and Wing are pretty impressed though once they see that Killua and Gon, defeat their opponents in the 190s. Now they're at level 200. As Gon and Killua get up to 200 though, this is the real deal, and this is cool because at this point they explain when you get on the floor, you don't earn money anymore. You don't earn money anymore. It's really just fighting for the glory of it. So just so you know going into it, right? And they go up there and it's like this fancy, sweet-looking hotel. But as they go and walk around the corner, there's like this unseen like smoke aura type thing. Kind of looks like something crazy out of like an RPG type game, like a Dark Souls or something. And you're just like, wow, it looks like this like purple just swirling gate of smoke. And as they're trying to walk into it, it's almost like they're being pushed back by like hurricane force winds and what have you, you know? And what it is it's this aura, it's this force, it's this nen of somebody else, right? And we go, and that winds up clearing, and then we get the receptionist from up there and explain, or one of the people, I don't know, concierge, something like that, on level 200, explains everything to him and says, listen, it's like, I think it's like 8:30 at the time, right? And they've got to, right around 8:30, 8:20, 8:30, they have to register for a match by midnight, you know? So she's explaining that to him and everything else. And as they go to move forward, who do they see right behind? Oh my God, it's awesome. A playing card comes flying in and just sticks in the ground. You know, a 3 of clubs or a 3 of spades. They look, and who's standing with his back up to this like concierge or whatever, but our boy Hisoka, right? And now we haven't seen Hisoka in, I don't know, 6, 7 episodes or something like that. And I've certainly missed the dude, right? Because he is an interesting, weird, creepy motherfucker. And we see him, it was his nen, it was his aura that was pushing them back. And he straight out tells them, like, first of all, he tells them that he was like cyber stalking them and found out when they were, but he's like, I was waiting for you. You know, all creepy like and shit. I checked when you bought your tickets on the internet and I found out and I tracked you, you know? And it was only a matter of time before you'd come here because obviously, and obviously I'm here because they ask him, why are you here? And he's like, well, it's obvious, right? I like to fight, you know? So this is a place for me. This is the battleground, man. This is my playroom, you know? But very cool stuff though, man. So he goes and tells them they're not ready yet. You're not ready, and until you're ready, you have to leave, you know? And they're like, what? What are you talking about? He won't let them pass, and he holds them back with his aura. He exerts that force outward, that almost like a magnetism that he has, almost like a force field, an invisible force field to push them away. And as they're pushing back towards it, all of a sudden Wing steps in and appears behind him. And he's this cool, like, slender dude. He's got his, like, he's got, like, a dress shirt tucked in, a pant. Doesn't look like much, man. Little wire-rimmed glasses. But when this dude made Killua jump back at the beginning of the episode. So I wouldn't fuck with him, you know? Nonetheless, so he comes in and he says, listen, that's his nen. You have to stop trying to fight it because it'll literally rip you apart. It can eventually kill you. It wears you down. It exhausts you, right? And it's neat how he goes and he explains it, and he's going to take them under his wing and train them. They find out that that Killua, if he doesn't register for a match by midnight because he'd already been there before and he blew off the 200th floor, you know, before when he was 6, they'll look at that as a lack of commitment, and he can't ever. He's expelled. He can't be in the Heavens Arena anymore. And Gon, he'll get knocked back all the way down to the first floor, right? It took him, a week or so to get up here, and although he handled each fight easily, it's a time thing, and you're trying to obviously meet people of your level or better, which they have not done yet, at this point. But you can tell that this is the real deal. I think there's like 170 something fighters from the all participants in the 200s and above. So between 200 and 251, there's only 170. It's just a handful as opposed to the thousands below. So this is the real deal up here, man, and the hotel, it looks sweet. It looks like the Ritz-Carlton, man. It's really nice. It actually looks like the hotel out of, like, Ghostbusters, if you ever saw that from back in the 80s. So, I thought that was kind of cool just to see Hisoka and him kind of exert that force of will. And Killua was pissed because he didn't tell him everything. And Wing goes and explains to him, why and everything else, and says, hey, listen, he takes him back, he says, I'll take you back and train you. And they're like, can we get back here by midnight? He's like, a lot of that depends on you. So he's got to, like, teach them this concept and how to use this and hopefully have them put it in play, because Hisoka won't even let them pass, right? They can't even get past, even if they wanted to. Doesn't matter because Hisoka won't let them. So if they don't get stronger and he doesn't deem them worthy, they're not even going to be able to get to fight, Man, that's how the episode leaves off, though, with him really kind of giving them the full explanation of what actually is, Nen and this actual invisible force, and being able to exert that force and push that force out, or use that force on yourself and concentrate, and obviously harden your body to an attack. Just really cool. The possibilities are endless for someone that knows how to use this, and it's very akin to the things they try to teach you, the tenets and commands in martial arts, as far as just your inner strength, your chi. Obviously, it's not the same because this is actually like a mystical force you can use to push out. To my knowledge, there's nothing like that going on in the real world here, but I'd sure like to have it, and if it does, let me know because I'll sign up for that class right away. Nonetheless, though, great episode. My episode question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is what are your thoughts on the explanation of Nen, and obviously the four kind of tenets of it that there is, with obviously the Ren and the Ten and the is it Ketsu or Retsu, and then of course the Force, just let me know what your thoughts are on that, the explanation of it. A lot of people kind of hinted at it being a very cool concept, but let's discuss it. Let's talk about it. What are your thoughts? Let me know right now in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Hunter Nation. Would you kindly check out my other channel, as well as follow me on Facebook and Twitter?